All right, let's unpack this. Feline diabetes. It can sound pretty heavy, maybe a bit intimidating.
It definitely can.
But our goal here is really to make it clear and, manageable for you, whether you're a concerned pet parent or maybe just starting your journey in veterinary medicine.
Right.
So basically, it's a condition where the cat's body either doesn't produce enough insulin or it just doesn't respond to it properly. Think of insulin like the key, right? The key that unlocks the cells so glucose, sugar can get in for energy.
Exactly. And without that key,
The sugar just builds up in the blood. It's dangerously high.
Now, what's really fascinating here, I think, is that unlike dogs, most diabetic cats, they have type 2.
Ah, like humans.
Very much like type 2 in humans, which, brings up a big question. Why are we seeing more of it? What really puts our cats at risk?
That's a really important point, and here's something that might surprise you. It often catches owners off guard, just how little extra weight can tip the scales. Did you know that an average domestic cat, if it's just, say, 3 pounds over its ideal weight?
Just 3 pounds.
Yeah, just 3 pounds. It's already considered obese and is at high risk for type 2 diabetes. It's a huge factor.
That's not much weight at all.
No. And the good news there is, well, preventing those extra pounds is probably your most powerful tool.
Absolutely. Prevention is key.
Other risks include older cats, especially over 7 years old. Male cats seem to be more prone to it, too.
And lifestyle matters.
Definitely. Inactive lifestyles are a big one. We also see it more in certain breeds like Burmese and Norwegian forest cats.
Right, there's a genetic component sometimes.
And even some medications like long-term steroids or other health issues, maybe pancreatitis, can play a role.
So connecting that to what you might actually see at home, there are sort of 4 classic signs owners should watch for.
Okay, what should people look out for?
Well, increased thirst is a big one. You might notice you're filling the water bowl way more often. Increased urination follows naturally, so cleaning the litter box more frequently.
Makes sense. Drink more, pee more.
Exactly. Then there's weight loss, but here's the confusing part. It happens even with a good appetite, sometimes even an increased appetite.
Eating more but losing weight.
Precisely. The body's starving at a cellular level, even if the cat's eating plenty.
Yeah.
And then maybe look out for things like just being tired, lethargic, maybe their coat quality isn't great.
Right.
And there's a really unique sign, sometimes you see it. It's called a plantigrade stance.
Plantigrade. What's that look like?
It's where they start walking kind of flat on their back feet, on their hocks or ankles, instead of up on their toes like usual. It's due to nerve damage.
Nerve damage. That sounds serious.
It can be, but the hopeful part is it's often reversible if you catch the diabetes early and get it treated.
That's good to know.
But we do need to mention, if diabetes goes untreated, it can lead to a really serious life-threatening emergency called diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA.
DKA. Okay, that sounds bad.
It is. The body starts breaking down fat way too fast because it can't use sugar, and that creates toxic byproducts. A true emergency.
Okay, so you spot some of these signs, maybe the drinking, the weight loss. You rush to the vet. How do they confirm it is diabetes? Especially since, vet visits can be stressful for cats.
That's a great point. Stress can temporarily spike a cat's blood sugar.
Right. So how do they tell the difference?
Well, they'll definitely test blood and urine for high glucose levels. That's standard.
Okay.
But here's you called it a cool trick earlier. They often use a fructosamine test.
Fructosamine, right.
Yeah, this test isn't affected by short-term stress. It shows the average blood sugar level over the past, say, 1 to 2 weeks. Gives a much clearer picture of what's really going on.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. So once it's diagnosed, what's the plan? What does treatment look like?
The main goals are pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Get the blood glucose levels back towards normal, reduce those clinical signs we talked about, the thirst, the urination, and help the cat maintain a healthy weight or lose weight if needed.
And how do you achieve that?
Typically, it involves 2 core things: insulin injections and a carefully managed diet.
Okay, insulin injections, that sounds daunting for a lot of owners, I imagine.
It really does, initially.
Yeah.
But honestly, the needles are tiny. It's given just under the skin, usually once or twice a day. Cats tolerate it surprisingly well, much better than people often expect.
Really?
Yes, and owners get the hang of it very quickly. Vets and vet techs spend time teaching you exactly how to do it comfortably and safely.
That's reassuring. And you mentioned diet is the other key part.
Absolutely huge. Diet is critical. We're usually talking about a high-protein, low-carbohydrate diet, often wet food, and sometimes specific prescription diets.
High protein, low carb. Got it.
This type of diet helps manage blood sugar, And it can also help with weight loss if the cat is overweight.
And I heard something really exciting about diet and early treatment. Remission, is that possible?
Yes. This is one of the most hopeful aspects of feline diabetes. Some cats, especially if they're diagnosed early, put on the right diet and lose weight if they need to. They can actually go into diabetic remission.
Meaning they don't need insulin anymore.
Exactly. They might not need insulin injections anymore. It's not technically a cure. They could relapse, but it's a fantastic outcome when it happens. A really welcome bonus, as you said.
Wow, that's amazing. Motivation to act fast and stick with the plan.
Yeah.
So managing this day to day, what does that involve besides the injections and food?
Home monitoring is really essential for success. We usually recommend keeping a daily log.
A log. Like, what do you track?
Things like how much food they ate, approximate water intake, their general attitude, their weight regularly, and of course the insulin doses given. It helps you and your vet spot trends.
Okay, that makes sense. Tracking progress.
Some owners even learn to monitor blood glucose levels at home with a little glucometer, similar to what human diabetics use.
Oh, okay. That requires some training, I guess.
It does, but it can provide really valuable information. However, and this is absolutely vital, never, ever adjust your cat's insulin dose on your own without specific instructions from your vet.
Right. Don't play vet at home with the insulin dose. Very important.
Critically important.
Yeah.
Which leads to another crucial point. What happens if the blood sugar drops too low?
Ah, the opposite problem. Hypoglycemia.
Exactly. Hypoglycemia is a medical emergency. Signs can be weakness, wobbling, acting drunk, lethargy, sometimes even seizures.
Scary. What should you do if you suspect that?
If you suspect hypoglycemia, you need to act immediately. Rub something sugary like honey, corn syrup, or maple syrup directly onto their gums. Don't try to force liquid down their throat if they're weak.
Just on the gums.
Yes, it gets absorbed quickly there. And then get them to a veterinarian or emergency clinic straight away. Time is critical.
Okay, good advice. Honey or syrup on the gums, then straight to the vet.
Got it. So, looking at the big picture, what's the long-term outlook for a cat diagnosed with diabetes? With dedicated treatment and consistent care, the outlook is generally good. Diabetic cats can live long, happy lives, often for many years after diagnosis.
That's wonderful to hear.
Remission is a fantastic possibility, as we discussed, but even without it, good quality of life is very achievable. It really is a commitment, though.
A commitment, yeah. It requires that consistent care, regular vet visits, and real teamwork between you and your veterinarian.
Absolutely.
The commitment might seem like a lot at first, but, imagine the joy of seeing your beloved cat feeling better, playing again, just thriving.
Exactly.
And ultimately thinking back to the risks, preventing obesity in the first place, encouraging activities that can significantly reduce the risk of your cat ever developing diabetes.
That's the best strategy, without a doubt.
So lots of great information here.
Hopefully helpful.
Yeah.
But we do need to add, this deep dive offers valuable insights, but please remember, it's intended for educational purposes only. It's not a substitute for professional veterinary advice. Always consult a certified veterinarian for any health concerns you have about your pet, or before making any decisions regarding their medical care.
Excellent point. Always talk to your vet.